No wall, just a cave. The breaking news, President Trump getting ready to sign a bill reopening the government. And the House has just passed the bill, so now it can go to the president for him to sign it. A bill to begin paying the 800,000 workers who for 35 days have gotten nothing, no money. And that is also exactly what the president has now gotten for his wall, nothing, no money.
I am very proud to announce today that we have reached a deal to end the shutdown and reopen the federal government. In a short while, I will sign a bill to open our government for 3 weeks until February 15th. I will make sure that all employees receive their back pay very quickly or as soon as possible. It'll happen fast.
So President Trump is temporarily reopening the government so he and Democrats can discuss border security funding, which is exactly what Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats have been demanding since the shutdown began.
Let's have that discussion after we open up government, and then let us get to work.
We passed a bill so that we could open government up for 3 weeks in order to start to negotiate border security.
Let's put the people back to work, and then let's sit down and talk.
Shutdown is not policy, but we can't have that debate while the government is shut down.
Okay. I mean, on every detail, right? Democrats got exactly what they wanted, right? They're getting it reopened for 3 weeks to talk about this. And the president, who had promised to keep the government closed until he got his wall money, didn't get a dollar. I mean, listen to him, his words.
I can tell you it's not going to be open until we have a wall, a fence, whatever they'd like to call it. I'll call it whatever they want.
Okay, not only that. This word cave, the president repeatedly tweeted he wasn't going to cave. It is his word, not mine. We will not cave. No cave. President's supporters do not want him to cave. I won't. Until he did. And the right wing of his own party tonight are not beating around the bush. They're mad. Look at the sites that Trump reads and quotes, frankly, on his Twitter account regularly. Drudge, no wall funds. Breitbart, government open and no border, no wall. And border, no wall. And the Washington Examiner, Trump blinks. Not to mention Ann Coulter. What she said. Well, don't worry. The president is now saying that he'll shut the government down in 3 weeks if he doesn't get the money by then.
If we don't get a fair deal from Congress, the government will either shut down on February 15th again, or I will use the powers afforded to me under the laws and the Constitution of the United States to address this emergency.
The executive action route. When it comes to the shutdown, though, it is a very tough threat to take seriously when the president just gave Democrats every single thing they wanted for nothing in return. Which begs the question, why did he cave today? Well, there were massive air delays around the country. Air traffic controllers were calling in sick because of the shutdown. So, you were looking at maps like this with hundreds of planes in the air, not enough air traffic controllers to land them. It threatened to bring the whole country to a halt. Some airports, LaGuardia, New York, had to stop all flights. Caitlin, why did the president cave today?
Well, Aaron, two things played a factor in President Trump's decision to sign this short-term spending bill, which he's expected to do shortly. One is pressure, not just from those air traffic delays that you saw there that White House officials were becoming increasingly worried about, but also from people like Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who was telling the White House he wasn't going to be able to hold the line for Republicans much longer. And they feared that some of those Republicans could jump ship and go with Democrats to sign a short-term spending bill because they were so frustrated by this shutdown. The second thing, Aaron, is really they felt like they were out of options. The president had already given an Oval Office primetime address. He had visited the border. He shut down the government for 35 days, and he even canceled the House Speaker's trip to Afghanistan. Yet none of that yielded anything that showed Democrats were willing to talk to the president and even edge a little bit on funding his border wall. So that is how they felt. Now, the president is expected to sign this short-term spending bill here soon, but the White House has called a lid, which means we're not going to see the president sign this short-term spending bill that 24 hours ago, just 24 hours ago, Sarah Sanders, the press secretary, said in a statement the president would not sign without a large down payment for a border wall, which is not included in this, but also ending this government shutdown that has not yielded the president anything but frustrated lawmakers, stressed out federal employees who weren't getting paid, and worse poll numbers. Aaron.
All right. Thank you very much, Caitlin. I want to go now to Gloria Borger, our chief political analyst, Rob Astorino, a member of the President's 2020 Re-elect Advisory Council, and Joan Walsh, national affairs correspondent for The Nation. Gloria, this is not the way a winning negotiation ends. At least it isn't the way it ends if you're President Trump.
No, I sort of missed this chapter. I was looking in The Art of the Deal, and I kind of missed this chapter about the great negotiation that never happened here. This deal that the president got today is one that he could have gotten 3 weeks ago. This is what the Democrats were proposing when they said, just reopen the government and then let's talk about negotiating what we want to do on immigration reform, afterwards. And this is what has occurred. The president tried everything. As Caitlin was saying, Mitch McConnell warned him, you're going to start losing your Republicans. So not only were his personal poll numbers going down, but people inside the White House were panicking that there was no way out of this. And so this wasn't really a negotiation as much as it was a capitulation complete by the president.
I mean, Rob, no doubt he knows that. But this goes to the core of how he identifies himself, okay? Mm-hmm. He just got zero. Not only did he not get $1, they had said no money and we'll open for 3 weeks temporarily. He even agreed to 3 weeks.
First of all, this is premature cavilation here, okay? Because 3 weeks from now...
Premature cavilation?
3 weeks from now, we're going to be back in the same exact spot. But the president will then have more flexibility and more muscle because, okay, he's seen as the compromiser. He's caved, if you want. He's given them, but he hasn't lost anything yet. He signed the bill in pencil, not in a Sharpie, right? So in 3 weeks from now...
I joked. Maybe
no,
he wouldn't use a Sharpie.
But I'm saying
it's
going to be a pencil because in 3 weeks it could all be erased. And we're now at the 50-yard line again, okay? I think he's picked up a first down, actually, not given up the ball, because in 3 weeks, the Democrats, if they don't come after he's said, you know what, we're going to go big, I'm offering you a DACA.
Because you say he actually has no intention of shutting down the government again, because that would be
might,
frankly dumb. He's just going to do a national emergency and say,
he might shut the government down, but if he does, the Democrats, if they don't start giving something, if it's still no, then they're the ones that are going to look bad.
Oh, Rob, you are good, my friend. That was good.
I think that's true.
That was good. I don't think that's true one bit. I think this is a mitigated disaster for the president and for the Republican Party, and it is a huge win for Nancy Pelosi. She is graceful enough not to take a victory lap today and to refuse to answer questions.
Let's hope that she is able to, withstand
When's the State
that
of the
urge.
Union now?
We don't know.
We don't have a date yet.
It better be in the next 3 weeks.
It's not Tuesday. That's all we know. This is a win for Nancy Pelosi. He's now going to be signing this bill in a cave, and I think he will sign it. But I just have thought all afternoon, Aaron, about what it was like for him to get the applause from his, the toadies on his staff, and then go watch TV, which we know he does all day, and see everyone calling it a cave, including some folks on Fox News. It's got to be a tough day for the president.
Ann Coulter calling him the biggest wimp in American presidential history, Gloria. I mean, and by the way, I mentioned her because when he was maybe ready to do a deal, she was one of the most influential, saying, don't do it until you get your wall.
Right.
Okay, well, a lot of loyalty that is. Well, obviously he didn't get it.
Imagine if you're a Senate Republican and you voted for that original bill, which passed the Senate, and you were ready to say, okay, this is done. And then Ann Coulter tweets and Rush Limbaugh goes on the radio, and the president pulls out the rug from under you.
By the way,
and you're
from under
mad
his
about
own
it.
vice president who had put the deal on the table.
Right.
So go ahead.
Exactly. And you're mad about it. So the question is now, what happens in 3 weeks, okay, as you're talking about? It is possible they reach an impasse again. I think it's probably more likely that both the Democrats and the Republicans do not want to go through this again. My big question mark is not the people in Congress, quite honestly, because they already figured out a deal. It's the president of the United States. And if he keeps getting this kind of criticism from the right, I don't know what he's going to do. If he still insists on a wall, I don't see where they go.
I mean, Rob, what does he do?
But that's saying that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are not willing to give. Steny Hoyer said something today or very recently. You've had Democrats say, look, we're not opposed to a wall. We don't think it's immoral. So they're starting to say, okay, we're willing to move a little bit. So the first step was their non-negotiable was you got to open the government, and then we can have a State of the Union. Okay. Government's going to open. State of the Union will give him an opportunity to speak directly to the people.
Make his case.
Make his case. And in 3 weeks, if the Democrats say still no wall, then they're going to look obstinate, and that will turn the tables.
But, Rob, you know, he had his chance. He spoke directly to the people.
I don't think
the
he
network,
did a great job there, quite
he
frankly.
did a terrible
Have we
job.
ever seen, I mean, we've never seen a shutdown this long.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, and the president just reopened the government 100% on the terms of the people on the other side of the table.
But didn't give up anything. Oh, it's 3 weeks he gave
He
up.
gave up his
He gave up his-
credibility.
No, he got 3 more weeks to negotiate. And in that time, if he gets a wall in 3 weeks, who's going to care?
He's not going to get a wall.
He's going to get something. Otherwise, you know what?
He's not
He's going to
gonna
get
shut
less than his $5.7 billion, which is what he said was a non-negotiable.
And
I just don't see how you spin this. He himself, if he were trying to defend someone, would say that person was a loser as a
Right,
negotiator.
a big loser.
He would, right?
he's
I mean, I
been
didn't deny that.
He's been a big loser. He may get 5.7 for border security. There are
Right.
ways for both sides to call this
for
a
border
win.
security,
A border
as opposed to
security
a
win.
loss.
That's what they'll work on.
And I hope that's what they work on. But right now, it's a loss for him, and
Yeah,
he's
but
going to have to compromise.